a best-selling author. His latest book is called Half Empty. Please welcome back to the show, David Rakoff. What's happening?
Not much. Thank you for having me.
Please, what have you brought for our audience tonight?
I've actually been eating so much candy backstage that I'm about to burst into tears, so I really do.
The book is called Half Empty. Once again, hilarious book. There is a warning on the book. Let me say it. No inspirational life lessons will be found in these pages.
And it turns out to be true, actually.
Tell me about this. Tell me about the philosophy of the book.
Well, the book is meant to be a defense of pessimism, melancholy, sadness, all the emotions that a self-selecting group, we can just call them Jews, might feel is their sort of baseline.
Did not see that coming.
You know, the baseline, that baseline way you see the world turns out to be as value neutral as having brown eyes. There's nothing particularly wrong with being more pessimistic than optimistic. Optimism is sort of broad-based, non-detail oriented thinking. Mm-hmm. Pessimism is detail oriented thinking.
Well, see, here's what's interesting to me. I am pessimistic by nature, but
yes,
optimistic by force. Because I force myself to then go back through history. Like, in other words, I have Purell, but then I realize, well, 200 years ago, we pooped in the water we drank. You know.
Exactly.
So I look at it, what I do is I deal with my own neuroses, and then I try and place them. Because
in the larger context, yes. But the only thing that gives me hope right now is that things are cyclical. That's the only thing that's giving me hope.
Really?
Yeah.
But don't you think people in ancient times who had, like, bubonic plague and all that, they didn't have neurotic people then? They didn't have, like, oh, if I go there, I might get the typhoid. You know, like, they just, neuroses is almost a luxury to some extent.
A certain kind of neurosis, but I think that the more pessimistic, detail-oriented people stayed in, you know, illuminating manuscripts or inventing telescopes or, what, I don't know.
Telescopes to make sure there were no asteroids that were going to hit us.
That's exactly.
Now, in the writing of the book, was your worldview in any way validated as you were this pessimistic worldview, this melancholy? Did anything occur that...
Any little sort of thing?
Anything that might have...
Well, you know, I was writing the book. My editor said, you know, you seem to have a problem with accessing pleasure or feeling joy. So why don't you actually write about that? Mm-hmm. So the book was underway, and the book was really late for a long time. I had this pinched nerve in my arm, and so I was like 2 years late, and my editor was sympathetic to a point, but, you know, it's a pinched nerve. You know, but my arm was on fire for like 2 years. Mm-hmm. Turns out a big old tumor was pinching my nerve. So it's great, though. I mean, here's it's great. I'm not crazy.
Can I just savor that? Those two sentences juxtaposed? It turned out to be a tumor, but it was great.
Well, here's the thing. If you're writing a book about how we should all look at the world in all of its flinty, afflicted, dark reality.
Right.
The ultimate money where your mouth is moment is, oh, really, Mr. Smart Guy? Mr. Negative? Mr. I feel so bad? Boom, tumor. So, so it at least...
So at that point, you can go to your editor and go, I told you so.
Exactly. Exactly. And so the book was really late because of that, because then I had, you know, radiation and surgery and chemo.
To me, again, you look great. You look healthy. You look vital. How are you feeling? Like, is it...
I feel fine. I mean, I'm currently in chemotherapy. So
right now?
Yes. I mean, not immediately right now,
but
yes.
Right now, as we speak, you are hooked up.
I'm having chemo.
This is what I've always wondered about, and sort of the old Woody Allen conundrum. The people who worry about things that could happen to them. When the thing happens to them...
Is there a kind of a relief?
Yes.
There is a kind of, I mean... Yes, it's like waiting for rain and then finally it rains. Oh, kind of.
Or do you go like, I bet it turns into a tornado? Like, is it... What happens at that point?
Well, it turns out, here's the thing, when it turns out to be your own mortality on the line, people generally tend to be quite optimistic about their long-term chances of survival. I think the will to keep on going is incredibly strong. Do I feel, therefore, does it extend to feeling optimism about the Roberts Court? No.
So you feel like the cancer you can take care of. The Roberts Court.
Citizens United, we're just completely screwed.
That has metastasized.
Precisely.
That is wild. It's so interesting. Do you like your caregivers? Do they try and pump you up? Do they give you hope?
No, luckily enough, they don't. They recognize me for what I am and who I am. Which is, there was a study, it even talks about it, I even talk about it in the book. There was a study that shows that the long-term mortality of people with lousy attitudes is no different from people with great attitudes. So you can be the worst bastard on the ward and you will not die at any greater rate than the other people. People will simply be gladder when you do. But no, all that positive outlook stuff, I'm not, you know, all that sort of, I'm going to chemotherapy, my sky-high Jimmy Choos and crazy sexy cancer. It's like, what you're essentially saying is that the alternative, if you can't do that, if you can't sort of enact a Sex and the City episode on your way to cancer treatment, if you just feel lousy all the time, then it's somehow your fault. I don't really subscribe to that.
Right.
It seems kind of blame the victim-y to me.
Right. Oh, that's an interesting take on it. The only thing I would be concerned about is when you're a bastard, you're also requiring, you're falling upon the kindness of strangers. There is a certain, like, the nurse coming in
will get bed sores.
Like, you will. That's what I was going to suggest. Like, you know what? Let's give him a sponge bath with the Brillo.
Yeah,
let's see how that goes.
Your room will smell like a hobo camp. Believe me.
That's got to be the title of your next book.
It is the title of my next book.
Your room will smell like a hobo camp. Well, I'm so pleased to see you looking so good and being so sharp. And
oh, thanks, man.
It's always great to see you. And I wish you well. The book is hilarious, half empty. It's on the bookshelves now. David Regal.